Welcome to the playoff hype, my friend. Let's discuss the series that's going on so far. All right. Let's talk about the East because I think that one concluded very early for a lot of us. Um, Bucks and Magic, I think that one's pretty set in stone, 3-1 right now. Probably going to be ending it after on game five for the Bucks. Giannis finally picked it up. They're like, Chris Middleton, you slacking on me right now. Um, that'll be really interesting to see just moving forward how that dynamic changes. Another disappointing and also boring series was a sweep of the Indiana Pacers by the Miami Heat. It really did show, and I think it maybe proved us both wrong about actually how good this Miami Heat team might be and the potential matchup that they'll have with the Freak in the second round. If based off that, we know that Bucks are probably going to move forward. Miami Heat's already there. Who makes it to round three after this between
I
those two teams?
I think the Miami Heat had a great first round, 100%. They proved that they are a well-rounded team, I think, especially.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't think they can beat the Bucks. I don't think that's. I think they'll take a couple games on them for sure. I think they can learn how to combat that team and adjust accordingly.
Mm.
But I think they maybe bring it to 6 games. Maybe.
Gotcha. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I know they always brag about this Luca. Wow, they brag about this Greek freak stopper of Bam Adebayo, and yeah, exactly. I know, and everyone gives us like, well, Bam's really good. I'm like, once again, once you play an actual team instead of the subpar Indiana Pacers, who already didn't have a healthy Victor Oladipo and a basically dead Domantas Sabonis who didn't even show up because he basically broke his foot at that point. Um, it's pretty easy being big. Once again, James Harden, I feel you. When you're big, all you do is just play defense and dunk it all the time. But I have to go with you. I just think now that they figure out the pace of the game, it's gonna be really easy for Giannis, honestly, just take over, take two steps from half court and just dunk it every time. Like you can't stop him. He's just really changed his game, and even his mid range and 3 point shot, it's unpredictable. Yes, he doesn't take it as often, but I think he's becoming more confident in his shot and more reliable in the shot too as well. So I think moving forward, I got Bucks 5-1, wow, 4-1 moving forward with this series. As much as I like this Heat team, it's just going to be an overall good team. It won't be great until they have true chemistry. Um, I think the East is pretty easy because we already know the next matchup with the Raptors and Celtics. No Gordon Hayward. He did break his foot. I mean, he sprained it, but he broke his foot. It's a classic Hayward thing, get injured. Kevin Love syndrome, basically, at this point. Um, but he did go home because he is having another baby on the way. So we won't be seeing Gordon Hayward for at least potentially this round. He might return halfway. Who knows? Um, but this Boston team has been really shocking. Yes, they did. They swept Philly, which I think was shocker. I mean, obviously didn't have Ben Simmons, but even so, they did some serious damage to them. And this Toronto roster, I know we talked about it a little bit, just how no one really talks about them just because there's no hype around them. Nick Nurse, Coach of the Year, props to him.
100%.
But rather, this team is just an all-around, just honestly, I could say a great team just because they had the experience. They've been to the title. Kawhi left them, and they still said, "Okay, who cares about him? Kawhi, who at this point?" Um, Here they are, second seed. Who do you got in this series?
I mean, again, I think it's another one where Boston could get a win, maybe two, maybe. But I think it's an easy Toronto series for them. I think my biggest thing that I've been watching and impressed by during the playoffs, for Toronto at least, Serge Ibaka has been how the man. It feels like the man's ancient at this point. He's been everywhere. He's been on every team, but he has the experience. He's a vet for sure. He's calm in the playoffs, and he executes. He's gotten 20-point games, 10-plus rebound games multiple times. Like he is executing his role perfectly, and that on top of the other players on Toronto, Siakam, Van Fleet, like the entire team has really come into their stride, and I don't think Boston is the team to upend that. Again, I think they can get one win on them. I'm going to say, again, a 4-1 series for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 4-2.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I think I'm on the line for Toronto to make it to the finals just because everyone already write them off. And like we said, they have the experience, they've done it, and everyone's just been so consistent and on the same page. This Boston team, I'm waiting for that Jason Tatum to really take off. The thing is with this team, they're actually probably one of the best offensive teams because everyone does score, but they're all playmakers on their own. Jason Tatum, like if you look at their average assists, the highest is Marcus Smart, and that's like 4.9 assists a game. That's the highest. Think about that per person. Like that's pretty nuts. But I mean, Kemba Walker does make his own baskets. Jaylen Brown can get buckets. Marcus Smart can be consistent for a starter and now a 6-man as well. The thing they're missing is a center, but even then, I mean, they shut it down with Miles Turner. Miles Turner cannot do anything with them, and with Daniel Tice also getting some minutes, and even Enes Kanter, like I mean, he kind of proved us wrong about how consistent he could play, and this team could do some serious damage. But I gotta go with Toronto still, 4-2 with them. It's just I can't rule out the champions. Like I heard like a comment saying that the Toronto Raptors are the most disrespected champions as of now, and I'm like that actually might be true because I mean like everyone wrote them off like easily. Like there's no way these guys can't do it at this point. But I have huge optimism. I think they could probably beat the Bucks in the next series too. I already got the Bucks going on, but they could easily beat these Bucks team too, just in terms of pure defensive standpoint, especially in the paint. East was easy. That's garbage. Get it out of here. All right, done. That's set in stone. The West, a true debacle. Let's just get into it. Clippers and Mavs. That's 3-2 Clippers. Paul George finally picked it up after a huge, very long slump. And we saw some of his tweets, which were super dumb. Like I was just like, bro, you weren't in a dark place when you're getting paid. When you're in LA and you're getting paid max money, like I know money doesn't buy happiness, but goddamn, like you're still balling out. You're still doing what you love. Like, bro, pick it up. He finally did. Showed up. Played phenomenal. But for me, I'm still skeptical on Paul George just because I'm not sure about the consistency. Do you think that this slump will be a huge concern, even though it was just the one game he came back with?
100%. I think it's a big concern because, like we said, it's one game he's come back with. He's still got another game at least, and then if they win the next game, regardless if he's in the slump or not, then they got a whole other series to worry about. Then they got another series. Like the playoffs of all times is not the time to have a slump. And if you're a professional player and you think of yourself as a top 10 player or whatever, I don't know. I mean, it happens to everyone. Yeah, the players have bad nights. When you have 3 games in a row that are subpar, that's questionable. If I'm the Clippers GM, I'm starting to question whether I wanted Paul George or not. But I'm a Paul George hater, so I mean I can't. I'm well aware that I'm extremely biased. But the thing is too, the Mavs team is not something to take lightly at all, and I think Paul George is, and I think that's going to be the biggest downfall. Is if he goes in to the next game and he's like, you know what, I'm back, I'm good, I got my streak up. This Mavs defense isn't anything to be worried about. He's going to get destroyed because the Mavs are going to realize that right away, and they're going to make him miss 2 shots right off the bat, and then he's going to miss 10 shots. Like, he gets in his head so easily, and the Mavs are going to take advantage of that.
Gotcha. No, I totally agree. And I think we saw with Game 5, Paul George finally got out of it. and they got the matchup correct with Kawhi. No more of that switches. Yeah, that cost them the last game before that too. I
Yeah.
mean, you never switch when Kawhi guy's the best player. Like it makes it tough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Luka has been proving us wrong and putting a real challenge on Kawhi Leonard. But look, Kawhi Leonard's got some freakish hands and the wingspan to really get in your face and make sure you have a really difficult shot at that point. You can strip the ball at that point. Um, what is your projections for this series, though?
I think Mavs win the next game and it goes to 7. But I think if you have Kawhi in your team and you're in a game 7, you win. I think he has that MJ Kobe button where he can just press it and be like, okay, it's game 7. Time to score 30 points and 12 rebounds and 8 assists and 2 blocks and whatever, like, and just carry this team.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has that fire inside of him. Paul George, I don't think he does.
That's fair.
You need that. If you got Kawhi, if you got one person to push that button, I think that could be enough, especially for the Clippers. Unless I think if KP gets healthy by game 7, assuming there is one, I think if KP and Luka can come back, then we could see something different.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I was going along those lines, but you still got Clippers in 7, though.
I think so.
Gotcha.
As much as it pains me to say, yeah.
Gotcha. No, that's fair because I think Clippers ended next game. If KP comes back, I think you're right. I think if KP comes back for Game 6, I think it goes to 7. But I still got Clippers regardless. I think Paul George. I think will finally pick it up, get out of this slump of his. We saw him drop it in Game 5, and I think he's just ready to do it. And I think we've seen even more is Kawhi's takeover ability in the fourth quarter. When he saw his team struggling, like when you have Marcus Morris or Markieff, whatever Morris, you got whatever brother, they're both trash. When they're taking most of the shots in the fourth quarter, you gotta take the ball. Okay,
Yep.
when Reggie Jackson starts trying to be a relevant person again, give Kawhi the ball. Okay, we don't want this garbage to happen, but look, this Clippers team, Kawhi's been here. Paul George at least got to the second round and to the conference finals in the East. So this team has seen some stuff, but I got them in 7. Either 6 if KP doesn't play, 7 if KP plays. I think the more interesting series to look at is Rockets Thunder. Currently 2-2. Um, a little concerning just from an inconsistency standpoint from Harden shooting and really just the whole team shooting. They did have a 2-0 lead, then Thunder came back to get the other 2 games. Do the Houston Rockets need Russell Westbrook to win this series?
I don't think so, because I think if they play on and they are making their threes, I don't think the Thunder can win against that. But it's tough. If they aren't hitting their threes, the Thunders, as we've seen, are going to really quickly take advantage of that. But if they can get Westbrook back, I think that's a guaranteed win for the series. I don't think the Thunder could stop the Rockets at all if Westbrook is back.
For sure, and I don't know if you saw the video of him trash talking to Steven Adams like in Game 4. That was phenomenal. That was like the most like Russell Westbrook thing I've seen in a long time. But I think the thing with Russell Westbrook, and once again I say it every time, but the team does not play any inside game at all until Russell Westbrook is in the game. Essentially, at that point, and that's the thing you need to do is change the pace between driving to the paint and then getting outside shots. Because if you get Russell to drive in, he can at least dish it out, and you got a wide open shot every time. Like imagine Russell to Harden. Harden's gonna make that shot every time, like easy at that point. What's the projection for the series though?
I don't know. I think assuming Russ isn't back, I think it goes to 7, honestly. I think SGA especially has been stepping up more than I ever expected. And that whole Thunder team, honestly, is just clicking like we saw earlier in the season. So I think they could really pull it out, especially if there's no Westbrook. But I still think Rockets take it.
Gotcha. Got Rockets in 7. Gotcha. This is tough. I mean, I think Chris Paul's really proved a lot of us wrong about like his takeover ability. But we do see him complaining. Dude, he's a real narc. Okay, like I don't want him in my entourage at this point. Like, uh, he's just gonna ruin the party at this point. But if Russell Westbrook comes in healthy, Game 5 and 6, the rest of the series at this point, I think Rockets win the next 2 games if Russell Westbrook's healthy. If not, I think it goes 7. I mean, they got that guy, Lugens Dort. I don't know if you heard of this man, but the guy that guards Harden, the dude's been playing phenomenal. He's really been putting pressure on. He's got a size. He has a James Harden size at this point. I don't know. This is such a weird series because the Rockets feel like an obvious favorite, but the Thunder, I don't know. Like to me, I don't think the Thunder are impressive, but rather the Rockets are disappointing at this moment, just because they're not shooting as well as they should be. I guess you can kind of say, but I think in the long run, regardless of who plays and who doesn't, I think Rockets still get it in 7 as well. I think yeah, you're hit right on the nail at that point. Let's kind of zoom through these. I think Lakers, Trailblazers. I know Damian Lillard will not be playing Game 5 with a sprain. We saw 0 Dark 30 LeBron come back and just take over. Do we agree this is set in stone? It's gonna be 4-1 at this point.
It's done. Especially if Dame's not coming back, it's done. That's
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say last week you did have a lot of Dame time going on. Not time's up for him at this point. I just feel like this team's just tired because they just played like the most basketball out of anyone right now. Um, and I mean, CJ's got a broken back. Nurk just came back. He's been okay in this series. He is solid like first 2 games, and then just kind of went down a little bit. But yeah, I think Lakers finally picked up the pace, and now their side players are doing better. Like Danny Green's actually scoring for once. There's getting more movement from Kyle Kuzma, and AD finally set the fuck up because you heard me day one that AD doesn't step up, then they're gonna cost him the series. But finally listen, again the Dubs, and they're moving forward. There's nothing else we can do here. And let's talk about the worst series of all. And my cousin's probably gonna hate this because obviously I'm living in Denver. We should be Nuggets fans, but oh my god, this is like the worst series. This is honestly just like a bad series. Like I'd rather watch the swept than like this series, just because like the Nuggets are such a disappointing team for some reason. They did come back. They're down 3-2 right now. Jamal Murray really picked it up these past few games. I mean, they're dropping like almost 50 points. Even like Donovan Mitchell been killing it. Um, do we just think Denver's overall disappointment just for being praised as like a 3 seed?
I I think a little bit, but I don't know. It's tough. I think you got. It's just their problem is inconsistencies. I think it's the biggest thing. You got Jamal Murray, who's been all of a sudden exploding, a little too late. Uh, Jokic is obviously a really really good player, but then you got like Michael Porter Jr., who during the bubble, like regular season, was popping off, and now during the playoffs, what's he doing? I don't know. It's just you got a bunch of players on that team that are just inconsistent, and then also you just don't have that much depth. Like they're playing with like 7 or 8 people basically, and the 6th and 7th and 8th people are bad. So you
Yeah.
have no rotations at all. It seems like, and Jamal Murray's playing like 48 minutes a game. So I don't know.
No, that's true, and I think we should give some props to the Jazz. The chemistry even between Mitchell and Rudy Gobert has actually improved a lot. Like I think it got better somehow,
Ah,
um, just in terms of what it was left off after the virus situation. And I think our number one complaint this entire season from like takeover player was Donovan Mitchell. We just felt like he was not going to do it, and the guy's really doing it. Okay, he's dropping 51 points, the true spider right now. He's been killing it. Even this team just missing Bojan, my boy Boji Bogdanovic, to injury, their second best scorer. It gave Mike Conley a chance to really step up as well as he came back after his kid was born. He killed it last game too. I mean, they
yeah.
lost, but like it's a very close game. It's just a really weird matchup. Like you feel like Nuggets should be running these guys over, but I don't know. At the same time, it feels pretty even in terms of like player to player. We got Mitchell versus Murray and Jokic versus Rudy Gooby at this point. So Who do you got in here? It's 3-2 Utah right now. Who you got?
I think I still go Utah unless Denver finally clicks together and is consistently good, which I don't think they are, and they haven't been thus far. So I think that's the thing is Utah has been good every game. Like Mitchell has been good, and so is Gooby, and like I don't know, I don't think Denver's gonna pull one out against them.
No, for sure. And I think it's just like I think it'll go to 7, but I'm not sure how much I believe in this Nuggets consistency going along your point. I mean, we saw it last year with the Spurs too. It went to 7 when it probably shouldn't have. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm even if the Nuggets get to the next round, I think they're going to get destroyed. Even if it was Dallas or the Clippers, like it doesn't even matter. Like they're just going to get 4-1 basically in the second round too. So we'll have
100%.
to see. But we've been enjoying this. I don't know if you've been enjoying it, but I've been enjoying playoff basketball. It's just awesome to get it all back. I think we've been seeing some great performances and great games overall. So hoping for more to come and waiting for these epic matchups in the next rounds to come. So that's it for me. Kevin, close us out.
Uh, well, listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube at the Deep Three Pod, Instagram, Facebook, probably not Twitter. I think we have Twitter, but I don't know. Yell like Luka Doncic. Uh, email us at the deep3pod at gmail.com. Give us your best Luka impression or Paul George impression if you want to be sad and angry. But yeah, thanks for listening. You're the best.
You guys are appreciated.